Welcome to the second part of the Jig retrospective of the Streets of Rage series, this time covering Streets of Rage 3 and 4. The final game in the series that was released for the Sega Mega Drive is Streets of Rage 3, and I personally feel that they dropped the ball quite a bit with this title. Gone was the stellar soundtrack, and although Yuzo Koshiro and Motohiro Kawashima, they attempted a contemporary experimental soundtrack, which for me on the whole is just migraine inducing. The sprite detail and movement is probably more impressive than the previous title, but I feel that on the whole the stages have taken a step back, lacking the variety and depth that we had with the second title. Also, I found the game just too hard. Playing on an easy setting only lets you go as far as level 5, and the normal setting is just too hard in comparison. From what I hear, the Japanese title Bare Knuckle 3 is much fairer on its difficulty, and characters keep their clothing colours from the original titles, instead of the seemingly random and baffling choices of the Western versions. Even with all that said, Streets of Rage 3 still gets a lot right. The action is a lot more story driven, with a lot more cutscenes. New character Zan fits in well as a sort of human cyborg kind of chap, and I enjoy how all of the weapons that he picks up get turned into some type of energy blast. He alone makes this very tough game slightly easier. In this game now all of the characters can sprint like Skate was able to do in the second game, and characters have a new roll ability which you have to absolutely master if you want to get better in the harder settings. There's a new specials bar in which you can charge instead of using that precious health, and also new special moves can be accessed if you happen to be holding certain weapons. Shiva, who is Mr. X's martial artist bodyguard from the second game, and Rue, a boxing kangaroo, can also be unlocked with cheat codes within the game. There are up to 4 endings, which is adding quite a bit more variety than you had in previous titles, with extra replay value. In some way, the introduction of Streets of Rage 4 somehow saves this title by bringing the Japanese version Bare Knuckle 3 into canon rather than the Western release. Over the past 26 years there have been many different rumours surfacing about a sequel, including attempts on the Saturn and on the Dreamcast. Core design of Tomb Raider fame had Fighting Force, and Die Hard Arcade were also both rumoured to be sequels for Streets of Rage 3. This can certainly be seen in Fighting Force. There was also some leaked development footage for a Streets of Rage game on the Sega Dreamcast, and even another leaked trailer in 2012 from the studio and developer of Crackdown 2, Ruffian Games. Even some incredibly talented indie developers created Streets of Rage Remake, which has been shut down by Sega, but from what I hear is actually a quality title. Jam-packed full of content with 100 stages and 20 playable characters. I actually haven't played this game as I'm very much a console gamer, but I am super intrigued and I have heard fantastic things about it. If nothing else, it showed Sega the huge passion that fans have for this series, and possibly had some hand in the eventual development of Streets of Rage 4, the long-awaited sequel that we finally got. Finally, after all this time, the announcement of Streets of Rage 4, developed by Dotemu, Lizard Cube, and Guard Crush Games, had me feeling like a kid again. Streets of Rage 1 and 2 were absolute staples on my Mega Drive back in the day, and it was a series that I dearly missed. Teasers of the continuation of this series have haunted us over the years, but finally here it is. The story is pretty basic. 10 years after their last encounter with Mr. X, the heroes have to step up yet again to overthrow the new Y Syndicate, ran by the twin youths of Mr. X, the Y Twins. For complete transparency, when I first booted up this game I absolutely cheesed through it on its easiest setting. and frankly, although it was a blast, I was underwhelmed, especially by the climax. But by God, this is a grower, and I'm really happy to have it feature in this video. I've discovered all the complexities that set it apart from any brawler that I've ever played before. The combo is king, and stringing together moves alongside intertwining those with your specials will make you smile with joy without fail when you rain down hell on one of the end of level bosses or a hefty crowd of thugs. Stars can be collected during the course of each level, which can once again deal some serious damage to the end of level bosses, or used when completely outnumbered. Also, health lost due to using one of your special moves can be recovered by maintaining your combo. There are so many new weapons in this title, far too many for me to name. Let's just put it this way, if it's not nailed down, you can use it. Previous titles in the series required frankly little in the way of skill, yet this game demands that you learn even the lower level enemies' patterns, and you need to attack accordingly if you're planning on playing on anything other than the easiest difficulty setting. With that said, I feel that the learning curve of this game is much fairer than that of Streets of Rage 3. Axel and Blaze act as series staples, and the new characters fit in nicely. Cherry is the guitar-wielding daughter of Adam, who returns as an unlockable character for the first time since the first Streets of Rage. And Floyd, who is frankly a massive chap similar to Max in Streets of Rage 2, but is cybernetically enhanced due to being Dr. Zan from Streets of Rage 3's apprentice. One area that makes this game particularly addicting is scoring points in order to unlock the retro versions of the characters. The more that you play, the more goodies you unlock. All the multiplayer joy is here, with up to 4 players offline and 2 players online for some unbelievable carnage. The music is great and blends old with new perfectly, although I personally would have preferred more input from the original series composers. I am extremely grateful that they've spent some time composing some songs for this game. This game is as good as any in the series, and I urge you to get it and give it time. A deeper look will bring about many clever Easter eggs, which will make you come back for more again and again. I hope you have enjoyed this video, which I feel is a pretty comprehensive look at one of my absolute favourite video game series, Streets of Rage. I've had lots of fun researching and revisiting these epic games. Please comment below on your own personal journey with the Streets of Rage series. I'd be happy to hear from you. It would also mean the world for me if you would kindly like, share and subscribe. Much love, please look after yourselves and each other, and get your geek on with Jig Retro.